Last time we looked at AI, focusing a bit on the nitty-gritty or technical details. Well, to quickly summarize, we saw that, in a nutshell, AI has the ability to learn. AI not only performs complex tasks, it's able to learn from these tasks and optimize its performance. In this way, language translator programs based on deep learning continually improve. In other words, the more we use applications like DeepL, the better they get. Today, we're going to look at applications of AI in the workplace. In other words, in what ways is AI already being used? And in what ways will it be used in the near future? And most importantly, should we be concerned about our jobs? As we've seen, AI's main application is by automating tasks. Typically, these are boring tasks, or as we call them, routine tasks. But while this technology brings efficiency and innovation, it's not without its controversy, as we're going to see now. First, let's look at one of the most visible areas where AI can already replace jobs: manufacturing and production. Automated machinery and robotics, guided by AI, are increasingly used to perform repetitive or routine tasks, things like assembly, packaging, and quality control. These systems can operate 24/7 without the need for breaks, or for that matter, vacation days and parental leave. Obviously, as the owner of a manufacturing company, this is great as it reduces labor costs. Of course, it also displaces or replaces assembly line workers, which raises concerns about job security and the future of manual labor. While this might make some people worried, particularly those employees who work on assembly lines, the fact is, these machines are expensive and require a lot of capital or money to invest in. So it doesn't seem likely that all assembly line workers will be replaced from one day to the next. But moving away from manufacturing and toward another area where AI is making significant progress, let's look at customer service and support. AI-powered chatbots and virtual assistants can handle customer inquiries, provide support, and even resolve issues, all without ever speaking to a human. Of course, it can be difficult for us, the customer, to know if we're interacting with AI or not, as these chatbots are quite good at simulating a real human customer service representative. These days, I just assume that when I write with a chatbot on a website, that I'm dealing with an AI system. These chatbots, unlike the manufacturing robots we just talked about, they are really cheap. Just a few lines of software code and bam! You've improved efficiency as well as customer satisfaction. A win-win situation, right? Well, not quite. Many entry-level positions, which are often held by young or low-skilled workers, will be completely replaced. And then there's the concern about the quality of service provided by AI, as it may lack the empathy of a real human. But even from the company side, it might be risky to fully adopt or use AI for customer service because it could lead to a loss of human touch and make it challenging for companies to build these strong customer relationships. Another sector using AI more is the finance and banking sector. More and more, these companies are using automated processes for data analysis, risk assessment, and, of course, customer service. As you might imagine, these AI algorithms can analyze financial data a lot more efficiently than humans, and as a result, can better predict market trends. All of this leads to AI systems being better able to provide investment recommendations. Robo-advisors, for instance, can now offer automated portfolio management services, which obviously replaces the humans who now do this job. A portfolio, by the way, at least in the financial context, is a collection of different types of investments. So yes, AI can be great at automating portfolio management services. Of course, this too is not without its controversy. Namely, the potential for bias in AI algorithms. For example, demographic bias in AI investment advice happens when the computer program gives different recommendations based on who you are, like your age, your gender, or where you're from. It's kind of like Google searches. I'm sure you've heard of this, that our personal preferences that Google knows actually influences the search results we get. In other words, if we're more left political, the Google algorithm will filter out the right-wing political results. It's like a game that always gives better prizes to older kids and fewer prizes to younger ones, just because that's how everything was set up. This obviously isn't fair because everyone should have the same chance, no matter who they are. The same goes with investment advice. The goal is to make sure the advice is fair and helpful for everyone, no matter their background. And beyond this potential for biased or even inaccurate financial advice, some people worry about the security of AI systems in finance, as obviously they could be targets for cyber attacks. In retail and e-commerce, AI is used for inventory management, personalized marketing, and even cashierless stores. Cashiers, by the way, is the name for the employees who help you check out, who put all your purchased items in a bag and then give you the receipt. Amazon Go stores, for example, use AI and sensor technology, and this allows customers to shop and then just walk right out, all without going through a line and needing to check out. Obviously, while these innovations are super convenient, they pose a threat to retail jobs, as cashiers, stock clerks, and sales associates are at risk of being replaced by AI systems. So once more, we see entry-level jobs being lost. In other words, young workers have less of a chance to enter the job market. Perhaps one of the most interesting applications of AI is in the sector of marketing. AI is more efficient in analyzing data, which, as you can imagine, means AI has the ability to uncover trends and customer insights. In other words, deep knowledge about customers. But that's not all. AI tools can actually generate content, such as social media posts, emails, even entire articles. AI can now create entire podcasts and can even simulate the voice of existing human podcasters. Who knows? Maybe your favorite podcast is already just being created by AI. As you can see, AI is already capable of taking on a lot of the work of marketing. We used to think that advertisements needed humans, or for them to be creative and effective, a human must create them. But in the very near future, if not already, we'll have effective advertisements generated all by AI. Yet again, we see a challenge of finding a balance between leveraging AI for efficiency and maintaining the human touch in customer interactions. In closing, I'd like to address or discuss an argument that we hear all the time concerning AI. Namely, that this AI revolution is the same thing that happened during the Industrial Revolution. And even before the Industrial Revolution, the same thing that happened in the Agricultural Revolution. In other words, before, we used to need a lot more people to farm and help grow enough food. But then innovation led to machines that could do the work of 50 farmers. So at the time, these 50 farmers were unemployed and needed to find new work. Well, as we've seen, this was a good thing. People were now free to find new, more interesting work. Entire new sectors were developed. And this, some argue, is the same thing happening now. Yes, AI will replace some workers, but they'll find new jobs, just like in the agricultural and industrial revolutions. But there are some key distinctions or differences. Not only can AI displace workers more quickly, it's also replacing them in a broader range of industries or sectors. In other words, these previous revolutions did not happen so quickly and did not affect so many different industries at once. Before, automations mainly affected manual labor or manufacturing jobs. But now, as we saw in the financial sector, AI is replacing even typical white-collar jobs. By the way, that's a great business English term, white-collar. White-collar jobs are types of work that usually involve sitting at a desk and working on a computer or with paperwork. People in these jobs often wear business clothes like shirts, ties, or dresses, which is why they're called white-collar. This is a collar. These jobs include things like being a teacher, a lawyer, an accountant, or a manager. They usually involve thinking, planning, and using knowledge to solve problems or help businesses run smoothly. By the way, we also use the term white-collar crime to refer to crimes in the financial industry like fraud and embezzlement. But that's a topic for another day.